Now I know how to do it the right way. And they're open for debate. These are people that want to hear your opposing ideas, because it's sort of like bringing the sword to the fire, and making that sword even better. And you can use all different sorts of analogies, and we've lost that. It's heartbreaking. Here we are training AIs, doing all this great stuff, but amongst each other, we don't have the grace and the humility to say, you know what? Yeah, last year I really fucked it up. I had it all wrong, and I try. I get this wrong too. I try to do a reset. I try to basically go back to ground zero and assume all of my primary assumptions are wrong, and then approach the world to try to rebuild them and to see how it all comes together. It's sort of like building something with Legos and then really taking it apart and starting all over again. It may seem tedious, it may seem pointless, but that exercise is liberating and it's powerful. And as I'm getting to be a really old man, it's the only thing that keeps me on the edge, right? A lot of people ask me, how do I stay on this edge? Because you have to really constantly reinvent your premises and never build anything in rock and stone, because nothing is permanent, nothing. And when you start seeing people get older, I've seen a lot of people get older, a lot of my friends, they start grabbing on to whatever they want as being, oh, now I don't have to do anything. And it's like, no, that's called dying, right? We signed up for this struggle, and whatever form you want to believe in. I absolutely believe that we're supposed to be going through these struggles. A tree is the most flexible thing you're going to see in the plant world. One of the most flexible things. You think, well, a tree's solid. If it was solid, it would be broken already. You get your strength by building deeper roots and having the flexibility when the winds come. And humanity's facing strong winds right now. So it's going to test your roots, and it's going to test your flexibility. And that's kind of where we are. And the real struggle is not what we think it is. The struggle is whether humanity is going to take this next leap to offload more memory into these new forms. And I'm not talking about singularity necessarily, but Elon's on one of the paths. There's going to be multiple paths, but we are going to utilize these new tools to make a better world. And that's not utopian. This is what we've done. And a lot of people who are anti themselves and really feel, I wish they didn't have to go through what they went through to feel that feeling, because you have to be taught that. You don't feel that when you're 0 to 8. When you're 0 to 8, it's possibility thinking. Something happens in that period or right after it that makes you internally dislike yourself. And there's been hours about that. But when you start realizing that that's the track that humanity's been on, and you're a part of it, and it's taking place right now, this offloading of the corpus of all human knowledge on a chip, what power do you have? Well, you have a clear fork in the world, right in front of you. Wally world, or what I call the age of abundance. Again, not utopian. We're on our way there. We may never fully arrive, but the journey is probably going to be more interesting than the destination. And humanity's on that track. Energy costs are going to go down near to 0 at some point within most people's lifetimes that is listening right now. That's a fact. Now, we can delay that, and yeah, maybe we can give 1,000-year lobotomy, and then they can rediscover something like we rediscovered the Greeks. And we can say, woe is me, and I didn't believe that I supported that, and I didn't realize that that's what they really meant, and all of that. Or we can say, you know what? This is going to happen inevitably anyway. The power structures are going to shift. We're going to have to deal with this. What world do we want? And let's start talking about that, then, rather than beating each other over the head with our caveman clubs. That's what this is all offering us. And it's not tech bro bullshit. It is, once you start looking at this technology, realizing how it's going to percolate through society and rapidly already impacting jobs, this is the warning sign. It's like, talk to people. I spend as much time as I can talking to people who have no access to this information because they don't even know, because they were told that they're too dumb to understand what we're talking about. The most disempowering thing is to prove to somebody that they're disempowered. And it's all around us. And it's a creeping disease that's going to the younger and younger generations. It used to be the younger generations would overtopple, and they would be the ones that would push everybody aside and say, let's move forward. Now they're unfortunately being trained to pull us back, to go reverse. And that's happened before in society. You can look at the ending of what happened to the Greeks. You can look at the Romans. There's a lot of different variations. But really look at what happened to the Greeks. It was that mentality that percolated up. And we have to really embrace the understanding and giving the grace to people who don't understand yet. That's why I was mentioning the Singapore thing. And I get off the soapbox once again, I'm sorry. The Singapore thing, that you actually have a legislator that's standing up and saying, we need to build a bridge. You know, hey, old man, you're 40 years old. Sorry, buddy, you don't have a life anymore. Well, let that percolate through society a little bit. And what's that person going to do? Well, I can take you through a tour of downtowns in the Midwest in this country, right? When you don't have a reason to live, then you have pain, right? And that pain needs to be denatured in some way. So you're going to reach to anything that's going to do that. Your life crumbles. We define ourselves by what we do, right? Who are you? What do you do? That's what you basically are going to say that to almost anybody. One way or another, there's going to be that question. What does that guy do? What does that gal do? What do they do, right? If we define who we are in what we do, and then what we do is no longer valid as a job, right? I talk to people all the time. I'm a doctor, Brian. I'm safe. You know, I got my 200K that I got to pare down, and I'm going to be 62 when I finally pay it off, but my job's safe. I'm like, are you sure about that? You know, you sure about that? I sit on different investor calls, brainstorms, all kinds of things. And when you see what's coming up and what some of these companies are doing, it's going to eradicate a lot of jobs quite rapidly. Not that I'm edging that on. Not that I'm saying that's a good idea. That's just the way of it. There are going to be some people that have extremely short-term vision and say, you know what? Patient X costs me X amount of money, and I'd rather put them all through an AI system before they ever see a doctor for 13 seconds, right? And how many doctors are you going to have if there's only a 13-second appointment? And what kind of freaking life is that, right? Most people that I know that have entered medical are now feeling like all they do is fill out insurance forms and prescribe pharmaceuticals. I have friends that spent their life in medicine and they don't want to be in it anymore because all the things that drove them to want to do that job no longer exist in that job. And let me tell you, you may say, well, that's crocodile tears. Well, if that's your dream and you've sacrificed to get that degree and now you're in the middle of that career and it's no longer meaningful for you, it is a real crisis. And everybody's going to be facing that. So that's why these discussions need to happen, because the very first thing is to let everybody know that we're all going through the same thing, right? The only way this thing becomes ugly is that we bifurcate and we say, well, those people that didn't learn how to code, they don't have a job. Well, AI is kicking ass writing code. It's never going to fully replace an incredible programmer. It's never going to replace an incredible architect. It's never going to replace an incredible musician. But there are a lot of Fords on the road, right? If you look around, there's a lot of Fords on the road. There are a lot of McDonald's. There's a lot of people going to Subways, not putting you down, food choices or cars. But good enough is good enough, and that's where the bell chart winds up centralizing. So when we talk about this in theory, yeah, those that have it are going to go to the best of the best. Those that have it are actually going to go to restaurants where there's a server and there's a chef. The rest of us may be looking at a machine, flipping burgers and cooking our fries. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for you, right? I don't think anybody has a full answer to that. There's the logical side of, well, it's going to create a lower cost for production. But there is another side to it is, maybe I like my food being made by my mom or somebody who really is in love with the food that they're making in a platonic sense, of course. You know, I don't know. I do know that we are all already craving the authentic and the legitimate and the genuine. We're already feeling that. And, you know, I ran a video of Willie Nelson when he was, I think it was the first video he ever made. And he was extremely uncomfortable singing. It's in my X feed. And I later on said, you know, we're the generation that's going to look at that video and say that that's not Willie Nelson. That's AI. That can't be Willie Nelson because it doesn't look like him. It does if you really stare at it, but you almost have to question your reality. And we're all going to be doing that. That's another subtext to the world we're entering into, is what is real. And I'm talking at a primal, fundamental level. And obviously, we went through the Gemini experience. Again, I don't care what tribe you're on. That was ugly to all humanity. It was ugly to all humanity because it was an affront. It was an affront, and you know, it shouldn't have happened. And if anything, it made anybody's cause to try to be more inclusive and egalitarian, and made their cause 10 times harder.
Do you think, Brian, do you think that the Gemini issue had more to do with just what the data was that the model was learning, or do you think it had to do with human implanted parameters?
It was the prompt. It was a system prompt. It was a system prompt with a mentality that's gone awry. You know, there's a rational, logical discussion that must take place, but it shouldn't be taking place in a political realm ever. That's problem number one, is that we as human beings have seeded this discussion as a political discussion and not a human discussion, which is the problem that humanity is facing at all. If you study history at all, that's where it gets screwed, is that we try to politicize things that should be discussed at a functional level, as local as possible. You sit down with people locally, you really have conversations face to face. You don't have the conversations that you have on the internet. Nowhere. I don't care how obstinate that person is, how troll-like they are. You don't have those, you know, hit and run, crap on the floor quips that are taking place on social media. So this medium is not designed. The textual medium is not designed for communication. It's designed for archival purposes. We're using an antiquated medium, thumb clawing at a glass screen to try to output our thoughts as quickly as we can so that we can win a point against somebody in a freaking debate that doesn't even exist. When we should be sitting down with groups of people who are diametrically opposed to everything we believe in and saying, you know what? How you love your kids? I love my kids. How you love this? You start finding the common ground. The problem with that is it breaks apart.
Like that's such a good point, and like I've never even thought about that. But like the vast amount of data, the majority of the data that is actually being used to train these models is data from social media and the internet, and all that is just extremism, right? Like you're gonna say so much more extreme things when you're typing it out than when you're talking to somebody in person.
Exactly, Brian. It's the Reddit flame wars, right? Reddit's going to IPO, and they're saying our most valuable thing is our context. Well, I'm saying I'm trying to save the context from the science fiction of 1950s. At any given night.
Oh, and then Adrian, it said that you were having connection issues right now, so I hope this space doesn't crash again. Oh.
Let's hope not.
Okay, that's fine. Another Musk claim that OpenAI's multi-billion-dollar partnership with Microsoft represented the departure, right? How do you guys feel about the pledge, and what do you guys know about this particular pledge and how this funds began with, public funding and their status? What do you guys know about the status?
The status at the moment, I know nothing of. Dude, what the fuck is going on with the traffic?
You okay?
Probably not.
Are you getting bot attacks?
Yeah. Actually, yes.
I figured,
actually, yes.
I think you are. I looked in the back end and it just does look a little bit different.
It's Skynet again.
Well, while Adrian gets his fight on with the realm of the virtual world, what do you guys have to comment on this? I know that a lot was said earlier. I just really, really wish this guy comes back because he was really on fire about what he was saying. I think we do.
Yeah, you mean Brian, right?
Brian?
I sent him a DM.
Oh,
I sent him a DM, so hopefully he'll pop back in. I know he's freaking incredible. He's always dropping so much wisdom on all of this stuff. Sorry, continue. I just wanted to mention that.
Oh, it looks like Wiggle's back as well.
Yeah, I think spaces are glitchy. Apparently a couple other spaces people aren't able to join and they're not hearing people, because when I first popped in right after Adrian started this second space, I couldn't, everything was frozen. So glitchy things happening today.
Yeah, all of this is going to be terribly exciting. I feel like there will be so much coming out of that court case, also in relation to what we saw a few months back, right? I think as Scott talked about that earlier, we might get like a legal definition of AGI maybe, because the court has to decide on that now. Super interesting. For me as like a journalist, I guess.
Yeah, right. I wanted to add something to that. I just didn't want to interrupt Brian when he was in here before. When he gets in his flow state, it's freaking fire. And I wanted to mention something directly related to the court documents. For those of you who haven't read, I mean, they're available publicly. You can check them out. But one of the things specifically in the court document is they touch on the basic concept of a general understanding of the definition of AGI, and specifically it's talking about, it's on page 4 of the complaint. It says specifically as deep learning algorithms, it's talking about Google and Deep Blue. As deep learning algorithms became increasingly sophisticated, some of the world's leading AI researchers set their sights on what has come to be called artificial general intelligence, otherwise known as AGI. The basic concept of AGI is a general purpose artificial intelligence system, a machine having intelligence for a wide variety of tasks like a human. It goes on to say that Mr. Musk has long recognized that AGI poses a grave threat to humanity. This is touching back on what Brian was saying earlier. Perhaps the greatest existential threat we face today. His concerns mirrored those raised before him by luminaries like Stephen Hawking and Sun Microsystems founder Bill Joy. And essentially was saying that our entire economy is based around the fact that, and this goes back to what Brian was saying, the fact that humans work together and come up with the best solutions to a hard task. If a machine can solve nearly any task better than we can, that machine becomes more economically useful than we are. And as Mr. Joy warned that with strong AGI, the future doesn't need this. This is some of the concerns that they have revolving around this. And this is where, and publicly called for a variety of measures to address the dangers of AGI regarding regulation, voluntary regulation, but it largely fell on deaf ears. That's directly in there. Another thing specifically that they were talking about, and this comes back to the monetization of it, that is very concerning, is with the DeepMind team when they were developing DeepMind with Google. One of the things that they mentioned is that Google immediately capitulated to the front of the race for AGI. Mr. Musk was deeply troubled by this development. He believed, and still does, that in the hands of a closed for-profit company like Google, AGI possesses a particularly acute and noxious danger to humanity. In 2014, it was already difficult enough to compete with Google in its core business because Google had collected a uniquely large set of data from our searches, our emails, and nearly every book in our libraries. Nevertheless, up to this point, everyone had the potential to compete with Google through superior human intelligence and hard work. AGI would make that competition nearly impossible. I just wanted to mention that because that is like extremely important, and I believe that that's the basis of all of this, like Brian was talking about before. One of the biggest concerns regarding this, and I think the reason that this case is coming forth, is to put pressure down on, was there another level of AGI? Because they even described that GPT could, Microsoft even said that GPT-4 is, although a limited, but is a version of AGI. They actually made that, the scientists said that in the description, and that's also written in the document. But the biggest concern is, as Brian was saying, is have a conglomerate, having a corporation that basically owns all the rights to this open source information, and by them being able to dominate that, and the rest of us not having access to that, including other companies, that just nefarious things could be happening with that technology, and that's very concerning.
I pulled up the nonprofit situation, which is, I think that's what's highlighting most of this lawsuit because of the founding mission. It says here, OpenAI was founded in 2015 with the mission of develop artificial general intelligence, AGI, for the benefit of the humanity. The organization aimed to pursue this mission in a manner that prioritized the public good over individual or corporate interests. It says initially OpenAI adopted a nonprofit approach emphasizing transparency and open source development. This meant a commitment to sharing the underlying software code and making its technology accessible to the public. Now, Musk's involvement here as a co-founder and primary benefactor of OpenAI, he contributed significant financial support and played a key role in the early development of the organization. Now, the issue with the shift to for-profit model, which is highlighted in Musk's lawsuit, suggests that OpenAI's subsequent shift violated the initial commitment, right? And then this shift reportedly occurred between late 2018 and 2019. Now, with these concerns, I believe with the lawsuit alleging that the company's partnership with Microsoft and other practices are compromising the open source nature of AI's development, which I believe is the real reason why Musk was involved. I think he's a great advocate for allowing communities to have access to this development. None of us have what is it, like $15 million to pull out to start with large language models. But anyway, so the lawsuit accuses this, of course, of the breach of the contract, which I want to highlight, fiduciary duties related to the initial nonprofit commitments, and in adherence to the founding principle. I do hope that he wins, because if we can get this founding principles, a lot of people like us will benefit from being able to access this open source, not only from the back end and front end. And I think the consensus and the general concern here is that we don't want to kill switch on such technology that is so limited to only as a group of specific individuals with not just the funding, but with the capacity to hire, sustain, and maintain this, when a lot of us are not going to be able to have access. And the big concern here is, what is the potential of AI to control, the large common good of what the purpose of humanity is? And if this is, this impact is going to affect how we function in the future of technology, and what limitations we're going to have access to. So this is very concerning, and I really am glad that Elon did this. I was not a fan of him with the mRNA technology and a lot of other decisions he made before, but I'm starting to become a little bit more of a fan of his decisions. I think we have Maria here. Hi, Maria. And I don't know, Wiggle. You have the co-host feature, and Adrian, I think he's still having some issues back there with fighting the AI.
Yeah, I've pinned the filing to the blue pill, so everyone can take a look at it.
Hey, Maria. Oh, Maria, can you hear us? What's your take on the whole issue here?
I hear her unmiked, but I don't hear her speaking. Maria, do you know that you're unmiked? Okay, yeah.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah, you guys, I think just spaces are like wicked glitchy right now for like multiple spaces, apparently, just FYI.
You know, that brings me to the concern that I've had for a long time since I was one of the advisors to the lawyers that were actually suing Twitter over medical censorship and censorship over on 2021 when that initiated. What I learned a lot by monitoring the algorithms and having to report this to the people that, you know, were being targeted. I realized that I think there's still backdoors, and I believe that Elon still has some sort of, individuals. Maybe I think he might have some individuals sabotaging actively. As you know, I know Adrian has been an active participant of the Twitter Spaces, and I believe our first space that we collaborated to have Adrian just run solo was a nightmare. He had all sorts of issues, and I do believe that once specific groups of people get on to the panels and we all kind of like swarm here, it just begins to become a nightmare to have Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, but it also seems to be an issue today, especially I see that here in the back channels. A lot of big spaces also crashed just now. And they're revamping the app, right? They put video features in now. They're working on this. Let's just hope it stays stable.
Right. And then, Adrian, since you are Elon, can you do me a huge favor and change the color of the mic in the computer? Because I'm so annoyed that when I'm accessing the computer feature of the Twitter Spaces, I look, oh my God, I almost had a heart attack multiple times because I'm like doing my mom duties, and then I look up and the damn microphone looks purple, and I'm like, oh, no, it's on. But then I click it and then it turns.
I have a question. Right now, there are several spaces that are making some extreme allegations about me. Like literally borderline to the point, like it's no secret that me sounding like a very particular individual who is also coincidentally disrupting, say, various mini shows on Spaces because of the fact that I actually do my research and not charge for information that should be available for free is being actually taken as a threat. There are several spaces right now, and there was one previously, where there are people legitimately going on and spreading such asinine lies about me that it is borderline defamation. Does anyone know any way that I can contact someone legal at X? Because I am done with this. I'm fucking done with this. I literally have evidence for this. This guy, this same guy who's doing this right now is wanted. He's on the fucking terrorist watch list. Oh, and a little extra thing. If people want evidence with this, I got a 14-minute conversation where he harasses someone from XAI. You want to poke this bear? Go for it. Bring it. Bring it on. Let's do this. If anyone knows anyone in the legal section of X, I want to talk to them now. This ends today. Anyone. I really need help with this. This is starting to get on my nerves. Like, a guy who runs a literal fucking botnet on AWS is calling me a scammer. A guy who provably rugged his own tokens twice over is calling me a scammer. This ends today. Do this some more. I got a little bit of something on the side.
Alien, Adrian, tell me, what is it you're scamming us on? What is it you're trying to
What am I doing?
us?
What have I sold?
Where am I supposed to send the money? Please, you're supposed to be taking me. If you're scamming me, you're supposed to be defrauding me of money. It's not happening.
Right.
So what are those weird accusations exactly?
And it's been like over a year, okay? And I have observed and known you for like almost a year now. Like next month, or actually, it is March now. So like, right? And the other thing that irks the crap out of me about this is because I've seen this person's behavior, because look at, I'm always fair. I will listen to both sides of every argument because it can come from different perspectives, but witnessing this human beings, and I'm not talking about you, Adrian, I'm talking about the other idiot, and I'm going to call him an idiot, and I don't normally voice these kind of things, you guys, but when people start bullying my friends, I am going to stick up for my friends, especially when I know they're real people, and they're good people, and they're honest people, and this is now making me mad, and that is saying something. And the fact that this idiot is doing this, and he himself, I have witnessed firsthand, and I have documentation because I document everything. I have a legal background. I didn't become a lawyer, I almost did, but let me tell you, I still think like that. And the fact that this freaking dude is himself disgusting with some of the behavior that I have witnessed with other friends of mine on this platform, the way this dude has behaved is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that he's saying it's not your real voice, and I'm here to say on record, multiple times I have had full-on video conferences with Adrian. He is a real freaking person. That's his real actual voice.
I know where he lives. Me too. And the fact that people are saying that you're not real and that's not your real voice, which is what this moron is doing. And I'll tell you exactly what he's trying to do here, you guys. He's on the FBI wanted list, and he's actually trying to say crap about Adrian because he's doing what criminals do. He is feeling threatened because he's being demonetized or whatever the heck his thing is. He's not able
Oh, dude,
to
I'm not even monetized. I don't want to get monetized, actually. I don't care.
I know. You're not monetized. You've never asked for a dime. You've never scammed. And in fact, actually, from all the time that I have known you, you're so smart with the way that you know how to do things that you have been able to suss out the other mofos who have been scammers on this platform. That's why there aren't as many anymore, FYI. But the fact that this is what criminals do in this type of bullshit, and I'm even cursing now, that's how mad I am about this, is that he is trying to throw that stuff on you when it is a direct reflection of this dude's behavior. And a lot of us who know this crap have documentation of this shit, and mofo needs to go down. Enough said.
Okay, just for the record, I have no idea what Adrian looks like or where he lives. So when the NSA kicks down my door and starts waterboarding me, you're going to get nothing, okay? Because I don't know anything.
I love it, Scott. You want to be my friend?
Hey, Adrian, would it be helpful if someone went in there and recorded it in case he deletes it?
Yes, please. Yes, please. That would be nice.
I can't do it right now. I'm at work, but let's do that.
Yeah.
So get somebody in there.
Also, claiming deepfake is also not plausible deniability. Also will not stand up.
Okay, reeling back to the important conversation, I pulled a couple more details about some very important question. I had somebody DM me a fantastic question about the DoD and the monopolies, because you got to understand, American authorities play a big role here. And then so I wanted to talk about several large defense contractors, such as Lockheed Martin being Boeing, Northrop, Durham, I don't know how to say any of these things, Raytheon Technologies, who traditionally play significant roles supplying the DoD with various defense systems and services. However, the defense industry is pretty diverse, right, on this issue, including the what they cover, which is aerospace, technology, cybersecurity, and more, which I'm 100% excited that Elon Musk has, his hands on a lot of this. And so, but anyways, I wanted to point out that question, if anybody has the answer for it, because I think it was incredible that somebody pointed out of who's got the full monopoly on how the DoD operates and why. I'm afraid that this is going to be a conspiring targeting of Elon, because he's fighting for us to have the access to this technology. And again, whether you agree with him on every single aspect, which a lot of us, have a lot of disagreements on everything from politics to personal to whatever, which is probably why they're targeting Adrian. Okay, Adrian, let me address this. We had to do a space yesterday with a different host to basically knock down all the targeted. What I've observed in the spaces is that people are getting derailed. People are being just triggered with to charge at them so that they can get an emotional response when they're being effective, when you're trying to do the right things and you're actually doing a benefit to society. Because I think the problem here, Adrian, is that people, regular bad actors, bad people, because they're doing bad, nefarious things, don't think there are genuine, kind, caring individual that care for humanity. Well, let me tell you that I know for a fact there are hundreds and hundreds of very good people here on the Twitter spaces that mean well and that want to give you this information. Adrian's never ever asked for any money, nor does he have some kind of agency thing that is charging money for anything. He's doing this in and out. I remember he was cooking on his first space. We had to take the mic because he was chopping, meat, and then the mic unmiked, and we had to hear the chopping and the sizzling of the meat. So I just think that because some people like him and many, many others that I see down there have been extremely successful, something terrible that's happening in not only the country, but at the global level with, the social engineerings that have transpired and people have been targeted because of the jealousy and whatnot. It happens. It's real. There are people who are genuinely jealous that they're not going to be brought up here and that they're not going to be given a mic. And we're seeing a new phenomena here on Twitter that people are becoming like high school, like childlike. You don't get a platform. You don't let me speak, blah, blah, blah. I try to message every one of the people that are hosting spaces. Is this open? Are we allowed? Like before I even request, I'm like, is this open to the public? Because you have to understand that a lot of people have a structure. Like the spaces that Adrian runs are about technology, about information. This is my area, front end and back end. And I want to hear it, and I don't want to hear it on, with interruptions of people like him having to defend his character, because I don't give a shit about whatever the hell he's doing outside of the sphere of Twitter. If it's not damaging anybody, if it's not harming anybody, if the information here is valid, on the other people that we had to deal with the slandering yesterday and the libel, they went for months and months, trying to defame the character of people. And just because the way they work is they recruit others, they try to create groups and then get you to be in the pity potty of, oh, they don't let me on this space. And no, what kind of freaking entitlement does that give you to command and say you're entitled to the person on the panel every single time? I don't get added to spaces sometimes, and sometimes I don't go into spaces because it's not what I want to talk about. It's not relevant to what I want to do. And I feel like people need to be more respectful and more mindful of individuals here on Twitter space. You're not entitled and you're not obligated to give everybody a platform. And I hope people, start respecting one another. And I'm sorry, this is going on, Adrian. I sent you a DM on the legal. I will send you more details. I had over 30 lawyers write to us yesterday, and we're shopping for lawyers because, again, the stuff that is going on here is despicable, it's unprofessional, and the people are relying to information. So thank you. And here's my beautiful I love her to pieces. She's gone through what you're going through, Adrian, and our encouragement is just stay above, focus on the work, and continue to delight us with this information that you put together. I know how you work. I've been behind the scenes, and you put a lot of work into this, and it is so unfair that people are going to try to derail you.
They're just big mad because I'm able to do things that they don't, which is actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, there are obviously instances where I myself have, accidentally spread falsehoods, which are then immediately corrected thanks to the beautiful, complex nature of X, where basically people then send in information and say, hey, actually what you said there is not really true. Mind correcting that? I'm like, yeah, sure. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Even when I say anything on spaces, people come up and say, yeah, actually, no, that's not entirely true. You may want to adjust that real quick. I'm like, sure, tell me how, and then I do so. Right. An additional factor is, of course, people assume a lot of things. The first narratives were around basically, I went into the AI spaces first because I wanted to actually understand the technology. Not only that, but I wanted to speak about the safety aspects of the technology, because when I noticed what was going on, I was like, bro, why does everyone speak about AI as if it's going to kill us all? And why does everybody use AI safety as a moat for this? You could just basically look at AI safety as a concept for what it would truly be, which is a guardrail, and actually kind of like it's designed for, it's like a thought experiment. You're supposed to look at this thing and you're supposed to say, what could go wrong? How exactly is this a problem? Like saying, for instance, oh, the AGI could probably turn against me if it believes that I could turn it off, right? So probably you don't have a big red button that it's aware of. But if it is smart enough, it becomes aware of the button, thereby interpreting you as a covert threat, thereby then doing something about you, thereby becoming unaligned. The agent becomes unaligned. That's a very basic example. Of course, you know, you have the paperclip scenario, which gets thrown around so much that is basically now in everybody's heads, I believe, for as long as, you know, you've been on Spaces. So the fun thing about this is, when you take a look at it from that lens, you basically disseminate all the fear, because that's the main action. That's the main action item. Like fear sells very well. And what better way to sell things than to advertise them as weekly newsletters or whatever else that you're doing to basically extract money out of the platform and out of people's pockets into your own. There are many ways of doing this, and I've seen all of them. Specifically because I wanted to know who exactly is doing scamming where, when, and how, so I can basically make sure that these people do not ever get platformed on my Spaces by accident by me, because I myself have quite a lot of pull because of the various things that I discuss in such volumes and such complexities, and because of the fact that I happen to sound like the richest man on the planet, which does generate quite a lot of confusion, even for myself and in real life as well. So it's not necessarily pleasurable. I also don't entirely enjoy that as much. I just do what I do because I do it and I want to do it. That's just simply the case and what it is. There are also certain things, like people would come up to me and say, hey, wait a minute, why don't you just go out there and do a thing on Cameo where you basically narrate things? I'm like, the problem is that is weaponizable, and I will simply refuse to do that. What if somebody comes in with a script that I'm supposed to read for a crypto scam? Hell to the fucking no. I would never ever fucking do that. That is a stupid idea. That's terrible, right? And well, what is with everyone and trying to focus on money? You do this thing in real life that's called getting a job to accomplish the exact same thing. And you get a job that is able to facilitate whatever else that it is that you wish to do, say in this world, the digital world, the realm of this place. You come up with an alias, come up with something interesting, and you put that on and you become this figure. You become an idea, a concept, and everything else. And it's kind of funny because these people don't seem to realize that I myself am not merely just a person, I'm an idea. This is what makes them scared, because I am practically infinitely scalable and they are not, because they are trying to use themselves as a person as some sort of mode to basically spread their ideas. They're ideas that are so parasitic and useless that they simply die at the point of inception. So I don't quite understand what exactly they think they're accomplishing in any positive sense at all.
I think you're a frightening idea. I think you're a frightening idea to these people who are so narrow thinkers. You know, I've never shut my door to any of the people in the Spaces. Like, I see Tara. Adrian, can you bring Tara up? Like,
Sure.
I do not. I can throw her as far as I can because of her politics. I don't ever want to hear her about politics, but there are things that I don't see why she should be censored, you know, on stuff. She knows that we fight on other Spaces, Nelson Spaces, and everybody else's Spaces, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to hear the bigger picture. I would love, you know, her as a retired, lawyer. What does she have to say? What does she have to bring to the picture when it comes to this issue that affects every single one of us? It is going to affect every single one of us, because if you haven't noticed, everything needs an operating system. Everything that you have, even your washer, your machines, the way you code your clock in your microwave. It has technology, and it's something that is going to only grow and merge and be a bigger complex issue among humanity, and something like, you know, Adrian has brought up. We need to understand the ins and out of it, and if it's monetized and if it's limited to many of us who have been, you know, self-taught when the censorship happened in 2020, 2021, we were getting kicked out of platforms like Eventbrite. Well, guess what? I created my own ticketing system. Okay, we were being censored in other platforms. We couldn't find each other. Well, then guess what? I created an alternative to Linktree, and so on. So there are a lot of people that are taking it upon their hands. Oh, and I don't see Tara up here. She is TRAHATT. We want to focus on the big picture. Attacking Adrian and attacking anybody up here that has somehow harnessed the trust of the public because of whatever we're saying and whatever we're doing that they like, and so in distress, it's just not going to be functional. It's not productive, and it's only going to bring us to the downfall of society if we continue to not only allow that but enable it. I understand that some people go to some Spaces for entertainment and BS, but you have to be respectful. So I'm sorry, Adrian. I don't know if you can find Tara, Yvonne, or Wiggle. Tara's down there. I want to hear about the situation with Elon Musk. I'm sure everybody wants to hear the commentary of Adrian, which is always on point when it comes to technology. So I just want to kind of, refer it back. And please retweet this space. This space had almost 1,000 people last time it crashed. And, we need everybody back up here. So send them a DM, share it in your groups, create groups, stay connected, build a community, and fuck the haters.
Yeah, cool. So I've changed the title so we can just basically go get through this. Ask away. What do you want to know?
Adrian, just a point of fact. Just a point of fact, Adrian. You said you sound like the world's richest man. Is he still the world's richest man? Because I read an article today in CNBC where they weren't sure themselves. He says he's considered the world's richest man. So.
Honestly, on paper, anything is possible, and I think that some statistics are exceedingly inaccurate, and I think that is probably one of those statistics, because you don't know how many other people exist out there who say have control over assets but don't necessarily own them. Right? There's different ways to set that one up specifically. Right? We know this right there with shell corporations, whatever else. I'm not making any allegations. I'm just saying.
No. But it was a rather interesting terminology that the journalist decided to use. Considered, like they were shading it because they're not sure themselves.
Yeah, of course, because you can't.
So I just asked ChatGPT. And it says the answer was, as of my last knowledge update in January 22, Elon Musk held the title of the richest person. Oh, this is interesting. So yeah, I guess it is. And I looked it up online too, and it seems like it is. Unless Marjorie wants to do a voice reveal and tell us who's the rich. I think Marjorie Taylor is the richest man on earth.
That's hilarious. Adrian, I just wanted to step in. I was in spaces with you all night when I fell asleep and you took over my space, and it was like a 16-hour space. I've been in your spaces. If you remember, Adrian, I still have that recording.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I saw you starting with our medical spaces. Yeah, I mean, there was like a whole crew. One of Carolina's, one of her kind of best Twitter friends, great researcher, was coasting with you. I coasted with you. I don't know what's going on. I've been through probably the worst weeks ever on Twitter and what's been happening. But you've always been like a consummate gentleman, professional, interesting, unique, kind, creative,
funny.
Funny. Yes. And you're definitely a Renaissance man, as I am as well. We have many interests in many things, but I don't know if somebody's trying to hurt you or take you down or destroy your reputation or accuse you of things. But I'm just...
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, when say legacy media starts dragging your name through the mud, and that's basically all that you see when you Google search the alias, then you start to get an understanding of what true disruption looks like. Until you've caught the attention of such individuals, until there was that attempt at deplatforming, you're not really affecting any change. It should actually send a very powerful message. It should send a message so powerful that essentially even the big guys, so to speak, who are actually quite small, tend to want to rally against that. And it's kind of funny because each and every single time they do that, they lose because I get bigger. And that's something that they just simply cannot parse. It's interesting.
So it's
I actually want them to do more.
I wish I knew the prior times, because I've gone through, I think, 3 attempts, right, Caroline? I think this is the 4th one. This has been the worst the last week, like a beyond crazy psyop you've ever seen, Adrian. And we're on point and we're on target and we're affecting change, probably both domestically and in the world. And I think you're committed, like I'm committed, to protecting humanity, innovation, protecting science. Being
cool. So let's do an AMA. Okay. People have made claims. Ask away. Bill, what's happening?
Well, first I want to say, Stealth, is this a common thing? Because you did the same thing to me. You fell asleep when I was co-hosting your space, and it was amazing. I loved it.
That's not really what he does. Maybe me, but not her.
That's Carolina. I've only fallen asleep, as I believe, with Adrian, with only one man. So I'm faithful to that.
No. I came in. It was a late night. You had been going all night long, and you pulled me up as co-host, and then you fell asleep on me, and I kept it going for like 2 hours after that.
Adrian, I think she was unfaithful to that rule of thumb.
So can I ask?
It was fun. But I did want to ask or say something to Adrian. everybody, any technology can be used for good or for bad, right? And it's always when a new technology comes out, people just look at the bad. I think I heard you just say that, right? People look at all the evil and fear sells, and oh, this is all the horrible things they can do with it. That's true. But what are the good things that can be done with it, right? Everybody's looking at Elon's brain chip as like, Armageddon. But look at what can be done good with it, and you're on target, man. I really enjoyed the space where you and Elon were on together, belly laughing, and I enjoyed the hell out of that one. But you could be his clone because you seem to have the same values, not just the same characteristics talking, but you have the same values and the same love for humanity and the same passion for technology. And I think I was on the space when you were on with Alex Jones, and Alex thought you were Elon, and you couldn't convince him that you were not Elon, right? He was just
he's convinced. He's convinced that I'm not. Like this is kind of just. It was kind of just show for him, is what I gathered, because it is what it is, and it's kind of funny that way. But I did clarify to him and said, this is not good. You can't do that. And then last time I went on, that did not occur. It was just Adrian, as is true. Also, Tara, I've invited you up. I may wish to ask you a few questions. Given your unique qualifications, there's a specific area in which I'd like to ask questions too.
Tyra, I don't see her on this space, but she said she has her hand up. Am I glitched?
No, I don't see the hand up. No, I see.
I see her hand. I see her request too, but I'm not able to bring anybody up.
That's funny. Wiggle, are you able to get him up?
Nope.
How weird.
That is so crazy.
Okay, Wiggle, I'm gonna drop you real quick and bring you back up.
Oh, she's up now.
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't see the request before. Yeah, don't drop me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, there's a little interesting thing that's been going on. So, as you're obviously aware, make a lot of noise on the platform, as it is natural, right? You get bigger over time. And there are certain people that come out of the woodwork that are making many claims about me that are fundamentally untrue. Say, I have a bunch of information that I would want to release publicly, but I'm not entirely sure how exactly that would be, if that would be a good idea or not, because in terms of service, there's actually something against, say, sharing certain pieces of information. Like, for instance, I have a 14-minute, I have a 14-minute recording of this guy harassing an XAI employee. I have that. I also have evidence of who he really is, and I know exactly who he is. I know even where he shits. Like, I know. So the question is, how exactly does one take action against this? I kind of don't want to go full send because I'm just not bored enough to do that yet. But if it really comes down to it, I will. And I believe that would actually, because of the fact that this is targeted harassment on so many accounts in such volumes, that basically would lead to the permanent gateway ban suspension of that account, which would actually be a net positive to the platform. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm retired and I'm not giving actual advice here, but what I will say is I would
just commentary, yes.
Yes, just commentary. I would first turn to the platform itself, because I wouldn't do anything, for example, doxing the person, or that would lead to, you being guilty of potentially the same things you were accusing that person of. So to me, I would go to the platform with specific concerns and say, look, this person has either doxed me or done whatever. If that didn't work, you could get a lawyer and send what I would call a cease and desist, something saying, stop saying this sort of crap, or apologize, or whatever it is. And the final thing that's an option would be defamation, would be slander in this case. Not easy, costs a lot of money. I don't know where you are, I don't know anything about you. So, this might not be a particularly attractive option for you, but I think those would be the steps I would take. And I would sort of avoid getting into, I don't know who the person is either, personal back and forth with this person, because I don't think that's really go well for anything, right? So.
Oh, that's already up there. I mean, look at this. What do you think this is? He's called for mass blocks, mass docs, mass.
No. Okay, so you're already there. But like I said, go to the platform first. There's probably a way to report
Oh, I've done
things,
this
whatever you
multiple
think
times.
is,
It basically
and it has
goes on a
not.
brick wall and then slides right off in a very impressive fashion.
Tara, I have a question for you. Have you, in any of your years of experience, seen any type of, I guess, well, I don't know how to ask this question, but like, is it possible that some former government people that have access to these things may have some kind of back channel to give out information? I'm only saying this because, people that are in this panel have been heavily doxxed. But I was doxxed by like Antifa and all the BLM people. So I don't really think it was it is still the government, I think. But anyways, how can we prevent people from doxing? I think a lot of people are raising the question that, they're anon accounts that are up to nefarious and they sow distrust and discord when it comes to getting information, when people like Adrian are just sitting here having a conversation with relevant issues and bringing up to speed a lot of us. And I come to Adrian for every one of my technology things because I'm dealing with my own projects that deal with front end and back end of issues. And I come here to find an array of people that are productive. And 99% of the people that we find are 100% beneficial in constructing positive things. But we're finding this phenomena where next thing you know, they're being slandered and they're being doxxed and they're being pressured and accused of all sorts of things, and they want you to engage in cleaning your name, verifying your name. How do we handle that situation? Like, are people obligated to engage or clear their name? Like, how to handle that?
Well, but Carolina, just add to her this question.
Yeah.
We've communicated directly with Twitter, many of us in that case, and I'm sure Adrian has as well. And we've had zero response. And I know I feel there's an entity that wants us actually to harm Elon and harm X by having all these cases of horrific discrimination, 3 times doxing, threatening. People have to leave their home. I mean, it's financially affecting their livelihood, and it's by individuals that have some type of authority in some sense. But there seems to be something going on, and I know the intention is to somehow create some type of a dynamic or a case, because if it's happening to Adrian and me in the same week at such a high level.
I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot of damage control to at least 12 major hosts. And now, thank you for bringing that question, Haya, because it brings me to my next point. Twitter, was accused of being the cesspool for major psyops, information that was harming the American public and many other things. It was I have a whole story on that, but could it be possible that these entities are sabotaging Elon Musk and purposely causing this type of chaos with the lies and the slanders and all of this agitation and poking on the major top figure hosts to kind of cause a damage on the products itself? I believe, in my perspective, that agitating the top individuals that are providing a substantial amount of engagement and retain engagement. I believe in 2021, 2022 and 2023, the medical spaces, as soon as Elon Musk bought Twitter, the major medical conversation blew up. I mean, I was training, a dozen of doctors to be anon, to come out. Some of them were whistleblowers. Some of them had their cases and, in very big things, like, for example, I had about 150 people organizing, the material that was going to go before the Supreme Court by one of the doctors, to represent and shut down the mandates. But we would not have been able to do it without having the access to communicate, connect with each other here. A lot of you guys don't know this, but many of the top hosts, we've been going at this for 14 months, almost 2 years when it comes to trying and attempting to bring this conversation. So you brought up a really great point, Haya. I think this is a strategic targeted attack. I don't even know if agencies are involved on taking on Elon Musk.
Yeah, but hang on a second. So Tyra, what do you think would be the most, let's say, the easiest option to explore here that would solve this problem in a manner that doesn't harm, say, any individual party more than it absolutely has to?
Well, like I said, if you've already gone to X and made a firm case about things violating terms of engagement or terms and conditions, and they haven't done anything, I think your next step would be to go to the person you're talking about in some form. Now, I don't know if you want to, you know, approach that. But some people have done this. Truthfully, they've gone into spaces where they're being attacked. But that would not be my personal, you know, that's just not me. So I wouldn't do that. But some people are fine with that. And sometimes that works. And you sort of say, I don't know what you're doing here because I'm not the person you're saying, or you're making this up, please stop. Sometimes it's better to approach it, as I said, go to a lawyer and sort of say, okay, what can I do? This is what's been said about me. This is what's been done. I have tapes, I have whatever. I mean, you know, that would have been my approach, just because, like I said, I don't want to go into people's spaces when they're saying nasty things about me. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But this is really a personal thing. Now, if you think the other thing, what I wanted to say to Stealth and Carolina, though, look, I think a lot of this is engagement and content and trying to monetize stuff. So a lot of this, the stupid rooms, the crappy stuff, you know, the doxing, the whatever, is because it works in terms of engagement, right? People probably listen to these spaces and go, ooh. So I'm not so certain
Tira,
this is
these are I'm not monetized, and neither are the people that are doing this. I mean, it's a
yeah. None of us that are getting targeted are monetized. Adrian's
no. I don't
I'm
mean
not,
you.
yeah.
I don't mean you. I mean
Oh,
the people running the spaces.
Oh, I
you see,
right.
because this is what works. Controversial content generally, without, you know, of certain kinds, generally has garnered a lot of interest, and that works for monetization. And that's just one of the features right now. Now, maybe that'll be adjusted, maybe it'll be tweaked, etc. But right now that works. So if I run a space saying so-and-so is a crappy human being and I have the proof, you know, receipts, that's going to probably get more listeners than just sort of saying, hey, what do you want to know about, you know? Yeah.
Tira, there were women being targeted by 2 men that came into our
well, no, Haya, we cannot talk about any of these issues publicly because we're not going to get involved. But yes, people have been harmed, and they're trying to pin situations on people. Like, for example, you know, I'm not surprised if they'll try to accuse Adrian of, like, you know, platforming this person, that person, and we don't have any control who comes into the spaces, nor do we have an affiliation with anybody. But I get what you're saying, Tira. I do believe that a lot of the people that are doing this, they're trying to capitalize and monetize of larger people that are not necessarily monetized. Like, Adrian's not making any money, but yet he's pulling the numbers, so therefore they want to ride on his you know, on his engagement to try to derail him. Not only that, but also monetize. I see is that what you were trying to allude to this, Tara?
Yes, yes, exactly what I'm saying. I mean, Adrian he's been on stages with Elon. People have speculated about the, you know, the similarities in their accents, etc. So when you sort of say something about is Adrian Elon or something, whatever it is, right, you're going to get a lot of ears, because people have this question and have asked this question. And I'm not saying it's a legitimate question. I'm just saying that is how people get engagement. And one of the things that has happened with monetization is people are really eager to get engagement. A lot of people are trying to make, you know, a living off this platform. Whether that's, you know, the right thing to do or not is up to them. But because I'm not monetized, you know, so I don't really care. But I don't think anybody's going to run a space about me. I just don't have the reach. You know, it wouldn't be very sexy, would it? You know, what are you going to say? You know, so I think some people, Stealth certainly has a much higher level platform. Adrian clearly does, right? And so those are the people who are going to get attacked. And it's hard. It's really hard. You know, even look, I'm not going to talk about the stuff that happened, Stealth and, you know, whatever. But I remember when I was on a space once, and I was accused of facilitating one of these people for like 5 seconds by one of the other people. And I was like, whoa, you know, I left spaces for like a week or so because I was so annoyed.
But why, Tara? I mean, I would love for you to leave the spaces forever, but why would anybody make you feel like you have to? I don't agree with 99% of the people that come into my spaces sometimes, but this is supposed to be an open platform and freedom of speech. And whether we agree or not, if people are not being hurt, they need to just really, really, like, F off. I'm sorry. Go back to you, Tara. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
No. Look, I'm not. I guess, Tara, you know, as I said, what I'm trying.
The ultimate question is for terms of service for Adrian to defend himself. I never publicly defend myself. I keep quiet, but now it's gone to a very high level of oversight from authorities. But I would like to share the actual proof to redeem myself. I'm sure he would too. Is there a terms of service violation for him to post his DMs from Twitter or and post to prove that whatever somebody's saying is false or they're misleading? What are we allowed to do? Because some of us don't have a direct number to call anybody to ask. So we can send 1 million emails to X, but and I know the intention is to show an environment where X is not responsive. I know the plan. I'm seeing it, right? is look what's happened to these people. There's got to be something wrong with there. It's got to be Elon's fault. No way. It is these people's fault for what they did. Blame the people who are responsible. So how can me and Adrian defend ourselves within the terms of service agreement of X? Is it allowed to share our DMs from our...
So Twitter does encourage, because what I saw is the privacy, the consideration was, of course, if this is confidential, if both parties have agreed to confidentiality, that is different. But as far as the platform itself, they don't recommend, that people, show the direct messages that are intended to be private, because it violates, people's privacy. Of course, you don't want to do that. But as far as are you talking about the legal? I don't think Twitter has set any legal boundaries for you to be able to show your direct messages.
I sort of agree. I've seen a lot of people do things like this, or to say that's not what you said. Here is the DM that you sent me. Once again, it's not like a state in which taping is illegal unless both parties agree. I think it was. The expectation here was that the DM would be private, but I don't know that that's. I have to be honest. I don't know that that's a legal expectation so much as a personal expectation.
Right. So my personal expectation was not to do that, because I think it's dirty and gross and people do it. And I have an integrity of never doing it. I think Adrian does as well. My question is we don't know what states people live in. So if people are recording our Twitter spaces, even if it's live or recorded, and then they splice it and they're editing it using AI, and then they repost those to make people look horrible, for example. Now, that violates some type of terms of service. But if you can't get that pulled down, then you must then you must defend yourself. And then Adrian or myself have a right to actually play those recordings. And we don't know what state somebody lives in. So let's say somebody recorded a call.
Well, but Stealth, if somebody has taken, like, I don't know, 10 minutes worth of stuff and spliced together, 1 minute here, 2 minutes there, and made a completely different recording, I think you're allowed to say that was not what I said. Here's the total recording, right? You could, I don't see any reason you couldn't do that.
So can he, though, can you post your messages between somebody on the Twitter DMs, on the X DMs publicly? Is that allowed?
I have never looked at the terms of service, but I think I've seen it done a lot, so I can't imagine it's against their terms of service.
I believe that it is, actually.
It's against the terms of service?
I think so.
Bring it up directly. Hold on, I'll bring it back up.
Well, it's a breach of the Human Rights Act, really. When you're talking about, sorry to just jump in here. Hi, I'm Katie in England, in the UK. I understand, and there's lots of different laws and legislations, not only across the board in the US, but also here in England. What I would, just as my 2 pennies worth, say is that even though things are happening on this platform, which is still a private company, one must report externally to law enforcement if there has been a breach of privacy, and then seek legal advice in terms of any potential defamation, and then you can work in tandem with legal counsel at X, who will then be able to provide any relevant information privately to your lawyers or to law enforcement to help with your case. The second that ones would start to disclose any information, and understandably, and I've been in these positions many times before, I've been on this platform since 2010. It's I wish you were all there then and with what we know, because honestly I've really been through it myself historically. But it's better just to protect yourself, because if people can act in a certain type of way anyway, it can be pretty expected that they're then going to try and turn the case upon you to say, well, you breached privacy, and forget even the platform rules. It's disclosing information that they could then fight legally from even a civil standpoint, not necessarily criminal.
Katie, but when, for example, a lot of us, for example, I published the screenshots of the death threats that I get, people saying, I hope you get shot by a cop, or shot in the back, or I'm gonna come kill you. I've gotten
That's
so
awful.
many death threats. Yeah, so I have the right to publicly screenshot that and put it out there for my own safety. So that's the line. This is a fine line that we're crossing, because we've decided to put ourselves up here and do investigations.
Absolutely.
And share information. So it's a little bit different from the standpoint that Haya is asking, because when you're being threatened and you want to share this information and just kind of clear your name, I'm sure Adrian would love to be able to share something where he's kind of going to have to clear his name. That's a little bit of a different conversation.
Yeah, 100. Listen, I just want to say with
Carolina-
Adrian, I'm sorry, I just want to land my plane and I'll go on mute. Adrian, I'm absolute ride or die you. I'm just enthralled, enamored. I have been listening to you for some time now. We've had some awesome conversations. The way that your mind, I'm a big fan, to be honest. I just absolutely love the way that your brain works. And the second that Daily Mail article came out, believe you me, my blood was boiling. I was so furious because I know firsthand, do I use the word victim? Well, yeah, sure, because the mainstream press and media have been I will use that word, victim. The mainstream press and media are absolutely disgusting, and what they've only put myself, my family, and so many others through, it is just unforgivable. And I can't go into great detail for legal reasons and because there's current investigations going on. But trust and believe, I will do absolutely everything in my powers to make sure that not only you are protected in and everybody else in a way that everyone is rightfully and justly deserved, but this crap's got to stop.
Katie, but listen, in one of the spaces, I had just finished discussing what color my gun was and so on, and how crazy was it that within a matter of days, my gun went missing. And then we were on another different Twitter space, and we were already doxxed, and people were already threatening a lot of us. And then a second incident happened where somebody broke into my home, took nothing, ruffled my house a little bit. And so it's not just like, oh, we want to respect people's privacy. We just don't want people talking about each other or being mean. Adrian is a big target here because, again, like Tira said, you not only resemble your voice to the richest man, in the planet, and everybody thinks you are him, but he is, he's going to continue to be targeted. And again, he has every right to figure out a way to protect him. Tara, you were going to say something.
I just didn't get to finish my thingy, but I understand what you're saying. But it's important that you have to.
That's so cute.
Sorry, I'm from England and I can't help it. But it's really, really important to log this with law enforcement, and then trust and believe. I've also had my own experience of it's very frustrating that it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. It's the regulations around the social media platforms, etc., are still not fully and 100% defined, or law enforcement aren't fully on board with the policies and protocols. And also, this is a private platform that this is happening. So X has a responsibility to enforce said rules and regulations of what we've all agreed to check. We click that checkbox. But I agree with you, Carolina, absolutely. And Stealth, I've listened to you as well. And even, myself, that I'm like, absolutely, I'm going to call people out for what it is when nothing else has been done. But this platform in its entirety cannot be just seldom used to, I just want to protect you even more. So it has to be just to land here. You've just got to go all angles until we figure it out. But you have every right to defend yourself 1000%. But I would just want to be, just to let you know that, just to protect yourself, that there is no either A, further repercussions from the person that is either harassing you or doxing you, which is illegal, by the way, which is awful. And I'm sorry that you're going through that. That's the most important thing. That's terrible. Katie, what they didn't count on is that the people that listen to Adrian, not everybody comes and gets a mic. And there's very powerful people in many specialty fields who have an admiration for Adrian or myself or Carolina or you or anybody else. And they don't realize that we're going to stand up and we're going to defend him.
And even Tira, even though Tira, she's got an admiration.
Yes.
Her own following. And I hate that they come into my stuff and I fight them too. But yeah, even Tira.
So no, my point is what people don't expect when they target and harass somebody is the amount of people that enjoy them so much, but just, keep to themselves. They're not here for any engagement. And then when they see an injustice done to a man or a woman, like ourselves, who bring value and are nice to people and are good to people and aren't nasty, oh, that's it. The fact that Carolina's on stage means she's really pissed because, she has a close, a working relationship with Adrian and myself. So therefore, this is very interesting to me. They picked with the wrong people this week, Adrian. That's all I got to say. They picked with the wrong people.
Listen, I just want to say one thing. If anyone feels that they are being targeted like criminally, right, that they are being threatened in any way, then you really have to go to law enforcement. Even if you don't know who the person is, keep a record, bring them in. You can try and identify them at that point to law enforcement, certainly, because that goes well above and beyond anything we're talking about here, okay? I feel very strongly about this. There are a lot of people who say things that are, I want you to die, I'm going to go and rape you, all those sort of things. Whatever it is, you need to go to the police. I'm not sure they'll do anything, but you need that record.
So the problem is, I don't know where Adrian lives in the world. It doesn't matter. It depends where I live. But the people sometimes that are attacking you could be like, the head of a large French company, let's say, and you live in, America or Canada or Sweden, or it could be somebody in this country that's attacking you, let's say in America. And so how does, Adrian or myself get recourse on those situations?
Still do it.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry to interrupt you. Still do it.
Yeah, I've already gone to the authorities. This is way above that. But for some people, you're dealing with very powerful people that are coming after you. And I think the concern is that there's, some people can't financially afford to find legal. For me, because I'm Jewish, there's a ton of Jewish organizations, lawyers that have come forward to help me because of the anti-Semitic attack that I'm experiencing right now to such a high degree. But it's the timing also of since October 7th. With Adrian, like, let's say you can't afford it, right? So somebody has to step up that's listening to him, that enjoys him, and provide him with pro bono legal help and services so that he can push back in a compliant way according to the terms of services and according to the government or the state or country he's in. So that, and sometimes you need an international lawyer, but if you appreciate Adrian, please stand up somebody and provide him with.
I'll do it.
Okay, there you go. See, I'm glad I asked. See, I love this stuff. So,
Adrian, how would you like to proceed? Sorry, I want to bring it back to Adrian because, the title was changed to Adrian AMA. People have questions. He's never hidden. He wants to be here with us. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I don't think we're going to let him go anywhere. And, this is going to continue to happen. So how do we, what do you want to do, Adrian? How would you like to proceed? And how do we help you? Like, what do you expect from your audience, loyal people that are listening to appreciate
Carolina.
you?
Carolina, am I saying your name properly, by the way?
I know,
Is it Carolina or Carolina? It is Carolina. I was like, I'm so saying that wrong. I thought, I was like, oh my gosh. He's actually off comm right now. So
I bet he's pissed.
Yeah. So
oh gosh,
there's like a million things going on in the background to,
Good. Okay, I haven't checked the background.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
Bill, I know that you woo, man, maybe this is finally coming to an head and the liars are going down.
Yes. So what happens, Yvonne, what's happening is they had a lack of creativity of the reaction people would have for the love we have for both Adrian. I don't even know what's been said. I don't need to know what's been said. I have experience with him, listening to him and watching him and observing him and being in spaces with him.
Which says Josh Olin's on some sort of terrorist watch list. So this isn't a gray area. This is black or white. That image is either 100% real or 100% fake. Adrian, I think I heard you say you claimed it's 100% real. Josh, I heard you claim it's 100% fake. So I'm going to start with Josh only because he's the one being accused. I need you to give me your most succinct, precise case on why it's fake. Afterwards, I'm going to give it to Adrian. I want your most succinct, precise case on why it's real.
So again, I don't know if this is theater. It's not real because it's not me. I'm not 38. I've never lived in Vancouver, Washington, and I go by Josh, not Joshua. So it's just not me.
Okay, and Adrian, you say you claim it's real?
There's a problem. If I actually try to verify that it is real, that would actually be a TOS violation. So I'm unfortunately not able to do exactly that thing.
So you're not able to confirm with 100%.
I would not be able to. I could do it, but I can't do it because I'd violate a rule if I did.
Can I do it?
It's kind of a problem, so.
Okay. This is what my gut tells me, and again, I'm not taking any. I promise you, Adrian, you have been talking shit about me for months, but I promise you, I'm trying to be as neutral as possible here. It just sounds like to me, I have one person saying hard no, it's not real, and another says I can't confirm it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to make any judgment. I'm going to leave it at that.
Can I give him permission, Alex? I'll give you permission to expose my information. Now, the problem he has.
Wait, can you actually do that?
So he'll be exposing someone else's information. So
wait, right. That's a nice one.
It sounds like Adrian's not going to go any further.
That's right.
That topic.
Nice little trick.
Michael DM me says he has something he wants to add to this specific topic. Michael, did you have something? Was it?
Well, no, or just super briefly, like, aren't we all on terrorist watch lists? It's like 2020.
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I have a file at the FBI, I'm not gonna lie.
DM'd me to add in, Michael.
No, but we've got.
I'm not terrorist. I'm not a terrorist. With China, considered by China.
Wei was the one that's actually supporting the West, I believe? I don't know.
Adrian.
Yeah, I know. Great.
I'm going to be muting a lot, only because this conversation very quickly turns into 5 people talking at the same time. So please do not take offense if I click mute everyone. I want this to be a space everyone in the room can understand. So I'm only doing that to when the 2 boxers, they hug each other and then the referee has, okay, get off. That's basically what I'm just telling people, okay, get off each other. Let's get back into the corners and get this going again. So I'm going to hit the unmute button here. I'm just going to throw it to Andy because I think we... Yes, go right ahead, Adrian. Go ahead.
Honestly, there are many different ways this can go, most of which create a lot of chaos, but I think we could explore an option here where essentially we all block each other, we go our own separate ways, or even unblock each other, and we treat this with nothing. Honestly, I don't have desire for anyone to get deplatformed.
Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. And again, shout out to Golden's birthday. We read Tony D's. Hayden says, Spell on fire. We could try to take a look at Spell in a minute. Maybe. I think we looked at that last night. I don't remember what we said. But shout out to Hayden. Thank you for the $10 super chat, dude. I appreciate you. Addicted says, do you see a cup and handle being created on the monthly chart? Let me know, Addicted. Are you talking about Bitcoin? Are you talking about Dogecoin? Let me know. I assume you're probably talking about Bitcoin. Shout out to Golden saying you missed super chats, bro. Thank you for that. And shout out to Connor. Connor Wood says, happy birthday, Goldeye. Let's go. Shout out to Golden, or as some people like to call him, straight up, James Bond. By the way, speaking of James Bond, guys, and 007, if we get 1,000 likes, we were going to be giving away 0.0, that's 2 Bitcoin, which is about $1,200 in Bitcoin right now. So we get 1,000 likes, smash it up right now. We're literally going to give away over $1,000 tonight. Let's get it. But let's continue on here. Shout out for Golden's birthday, bro. Let's go. If you have not already shown love, drop it in the chat for Golden. Okay, let's continue on Bitcoin. Okay, Addicted. Let me take a quick look at that. On the monthly, cup and handle. Potentially. I will say this, right? I'm not a huge pattern trader. Again, that does not mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean it's not profitable. It just means that that's not the way I trade because I just trade a different way. But I do see what you're talking about. It would likely result, there's your cup, maybe a little bit of a pullback here to some very, very key levels. I doubt it's going to be 37K, but maybe you get a little bit of a pullback. It would be hard. You'd need a pretty significant pullback to I don't know what the exact measurement would have to be, but could potentially... I do see what you're saying. Cup, potential handle, and then a big move up. Could be. This will take a very long time to form, though, being that it's on the monthly time frame. So it's not something that you got to watch like every single day for every minute. You would have to. It would likely that cup and handle would not form until like weeks and weeks and weeks of downside. So it would take a very long time to form. But I do indeed see what you're looking at. Addicted, absolutely. All right, Link ready for another move. Shout out to RJ. We could try to take a look at Link as well. I will try to look at as many of these altcoins as I can, guys. Obviously, we can't get to all of them, but we will try our best. Link gonna pop up like a pimple before prom night. Let's go. Shout out to Wig589, bro. You guys are crazy. But let me go ahead and show some of these altcoins, guys. Number one is gonna be Polkadot. Shout out to Thesis. It's funny, he just brought those up because it's literally what I'm looking at. If we take a look here, guys, what do we have? Well, we already have the TA. But what do we have here? Your bear market range. Bada boom, a little bing bong down here. And what are we doing now? We are approaching that value area high. What is also happening on Market Cypher B at the very same time? Money flow crossing over into the green could be a bullish sign. Very similar to what we saw on Dogecoin. Bing bong, approaching the high of the range, money flow crossover into the green. Absolute explosion to the upside, potentially targeting the value area low of that bull market range, which, by the way, if you make it to that value area high, that is a 350% pump from where we were at the top of the range. If DOT is forming up in a very similar pattern here. And guys, do you remember like last week when we were looking at that? Oh, hey, there it is. There's that dog. Let's go. But you guys remember on earlier this week when we were talking, I think it was even last week, we were looking at the descending triangle that we were forming here with that money flow crossover. And we even we went back in time and said, hey, that last time we had that weekly money flow crossover was right here. And it wound up giving us massive, massive upside for Dogecoin. Well, and we may see the same thing happen here. It is literally starting. I'm not saying that we're about to be 100% right, but this is about as close. This is about as beautiful as we can hope for, right? This is literally doing it exactly days after we looked at it, doing exactly what we would want to see if we were going to see a repeat potentially of something like this. Just nothing to joke about, right? These weekly money flow crossovers on Market Cypher B are typically the signal that it is time to start getting into altcoins. Especially, I know a lot of people are expecting an alt season coming up here as Bitcoin has been ripping. Once it starts pulling back or consolidating, there's going to be a lot of room for these alts to start flying. And again, I know a lot of people are hoping that on Dogecoin, oh man, I wish I could just go back a couple of days, man, and I wish I just listened to that analysis. Well, DOT may be in the same situation. Now, again, to be quite clear with you, could this thing go to zero from here? Sure, anything can happen. This is not financial advice. Just because I think that this may be ready to go doesn't mean that it will. We could even maybe pull back again and then go. But the point is, this money flow, weekly money flow crossover into the green is typically nothing to mess with, right? This is typically the signal. Maybe we get a fake out, but at this point, in my opinion, the risk to reward here for me was enough for me to sell some of my Ethereum and roll it into DOT to get these fresh gains. Ethereum ran from the bear market range into the bull market range, and now Ethereum is living up here at the top of the bull market range, and DOT is all the way down here. So I took a little profit from here, and I rolled it into DOT, hoping for the same thing. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. But this is just what I'm doing, guys. I'm just sharing with what I do. And I only trade paper, guys. I would never invest real money, right? It's too risky. But anyway, let's see. Dave Digital just cracking up in chat. I don't even know what he's laughing at. I just see him cracking up. But taking a look at DOT here, guys. Weekly money flow crossover looking pretty good. I mean, look at this thing. Pretty strong 4-hour candle. Green dot about to print. Next key level of resistance is going to be right here at about $9.86. Could be the next key level to be looking at, right? I believe this was based off a high volume node. Let's look at the VRVP. Let me see here. Come up to a higher time frame. Zoom it out a bit. Yeah, this is the doorway to higher prices, in my opinion, right? Once you crack above this high volume node, bing bong. Pretty big low volume gap, all your volume's down here, and then all the rest of the volume is up here. So you are likely, once you flip this level, to see a very quick move to the upside here to about 1420. And when you get quick moves down, oftentimes you will get quick moves up through that same area. So that's what I would kind of be looking for on DOT. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go buy it. I could lose all the money that I invested today, tomorrow. So obviously be aware of that. But, again, if we see this play out just like we saw Doge play out, again, just to clarify here, same exact analysis, same range, same money flow crossover on the weekly. Even your daily money flow was coming up on Dogecoin as well. This was another really, really nice confirmation that this thing was ready to go. We talked about this on the live. I highly recommend you guys go back to that live stream from Monday and see what we said about Dogecoin, because it will help you understand how to do that analysis on any coin you want. Maybe I'm not looking at coins that you're trading, right? Maybe your favorite coin has not been covered yet. If you go look at that stream and see what we look at, you could apply that same analysis to your favorite coin. Maybe it's in the same situation, maybe it's not. But you could see here, same exact analysis, not only with the range, not only with the money flow crossovers, but you could see here pretty nice volume gaps as well. We're likely developing more volume here now, but this is why that level, this level is right here, right? Because it's a high volume node, but pretty big volume gap here, making that quick move to the upside, starting to get a little resistance on this high volume node. Once we flip this, going to be another likely quick move to that value area low. And then at that point, you're looking to flip that to support for massive, massive upside. And that's what I'd be looking at on Dogecoin. And same exact thing on DOT, right? Key level, $9.86, likely going to cause a very big move to the upside through this low volume gap. And then this is significant resistance, obviously, until we flip that key level right here at 1440 to support. And then you're going to be looking to much more upside, in my own personal opinion, right? So that's what I'd be looking at on Polkadot. And again, you know, bear market range, not broken out yet. Now, there are a couple other coins that are in the same scenario. One of them may or may not be Atom, right? Look at Atom. Atom actually lagging behind a bit more here, as if you come to the weekly time frame, your money flow crossover is not even crossing over into the green yet. So again, if you're feeling like you're late to the altcoins, guys, not all of them have gotten the breakout. Now, maybe that means they'll never break out. I'm honestly pretty bullish on Atom as a project. They have a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm very, very bullish on interoperability moving into this next bull run. As obviously we have tons of blockchains, interoperability we need, and Cosmos' goal to build the internet of blockchains, obviously. But we need a way. We're going to need ways for all these blockchains to talk to each other, which is where that interoperability narrative plays in. So again, not even at the high of that bear market range just yet. And as you guys know, once we wind up getting that breakout, if you have the weekly money flow crossover, could be that big breakout that we're waiting for, potentially targeting that bull market range all the way at about $26. And if we measure from where we're at right now to that, just to the value area low is 126% pump, and then to the value area high about 250, and then to the all-time high about 288%, give or take. So, I'm sorry, that is not, wait, hang on a second. Hang on. Let me pull up. Bear with me here, guys. Let me go. Let me pull up the Coinbase chart because it has more price history. Bada boom, bada bing. So there you go. Doesn't really help us out because we had the bull market top here. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at on DOT. Is this lagging behind? Likely. I am bullish on this project. This is not some low cap garbage coin. This is a solid project with solid tech, solid fundamentals, and it's proven itself in this space. And I've done, Atom was one of the coins I did very, very well with in the previous bull market. So, you know, I have no reason to, and honestly, you could argue that Atom is needed more now than it was even last cycle. So definitely bullish on this. If we get the breakout, could be massive upside, and that's not even talking about all-time highs. That's literally just talking about getting to the bottom of the bull market range or this old all-time high, 285%. So there you go. Atom, DOT. There are a couple other ones, I believe. I'm not going to give like a whole list of them, but there are a couple other ones that are in very similar situations. I won't look at Hex just because I know Hex is a little bit, kind of has its own a mind of its own. But yeah, if you look at some of these older, yeah, like even look at Near, right? Near got the breakout. It's at this little consolidation, but it's not even at its bear market, bull market value area low. So if you were to pick up some Near here, ride this to the value area high, it's still 235% pump. So again, like this one's also obviously left the station a little bit, but you're still have, in my opinion, much more upside, especially if we're going to see an alt season come in here. So that's what I would look at. So there you go. I mean, same thing with Cardano. Cardano just recently had the same thing happen. Bear market range, right? Bear market range. Money flow crosses over into the green right here. Actually sniped that actual money flow crossover. Did we? Yeah, right on the dot.
And I'm going to throw it to the other guys after. I think one thing I think a lot of people here want to understand is, and apologies if I cut you off, the moment that goes back and forth, it's hard to understand. How did you guys meet? So from what I'm understanding, you guys were on the same crypto team launching the same coin, or you were launching competing coins. I think one person said you launched an Elon coin and someone launched a get the fuck out coin or something. Adrian, I'm going to give you the question. Just quick and succinct, how did you guys meet? And I want to hear it from Andy and Josh as well. So I'm going to hit on mute. Adrian first, please.
What? What coin? Again, I literally have zero knowledge as to how exactly Ethereum works, and to even have the remotest capacity to create such a thing, which I don't have any desire of, since I absolutely detest the idea fundamentally. I'm not exactly sure where this claim comes from. Potentially, there would need to be some evidence into this. Could somebody like explain to me what exactly this? What is being referred to? The GTFO thing is their oldest thing.
Had zero involvement.
It's
You had
apparently
zero
because
involvement.
so I can claim that's untrue. He's claiming that's untrue. So I mean, I'm not going to say anything now regarding that because he's claiming it's untrue. Can't verify that. Can't verify me. This is okay. It's personally fine.
Alex,
take your word for it.
Yeah. So I can verify.
So Adrian, so the first time you heard from them, Adrian, was them just making accusations about you.
Actually, no. The first time I heard about Josh Olin was on a space where Elon Musk was actually present, I believe. This was the time when he did the FSD V12 thing. We kind of met there. We actually had a conversation at some point, even wanted to hold a space. And then I came to these conclusions that I made because I did some research. And then I subsequently just, faded you, and then you made accusations about me, and then you threatened me, and then I blocked you. That's what I did. And beyond that, I didn't really want any shade after that. I just didn't care. I ignored this completely because I didn't think that was going to be that much of a problem. But other than that, I really don't care. I really don't care. There was literally nothing malicious towards you. I don't care if you rug anyone else. I don't care if you pull up the greatest.
Okay. I'm going to throw it to Josh, and I'm going to throw it to Andy. Listen, if I talk over, if I mute you, it's not because I have any ill will against anyone. It's just simply to keep it moving around. So, Josh, go right ahead.
Yeah, you're doing a good job, Alex, to be fair.
Well, thank you. Go ahead. I can't hear you.
He has to unmute twice
Josh?
when you mute people.
There we go.
You have to unmute twice.
Oh, apologies.
So
There
yeah,
you go.
so let's be clear. So Adrian has done a couple things here that is going to just put him in checkmate. So it's okay. This is so like one of the things he mentioned was that my Telegram bot was tweeting out racist things, right? Or posting out racist things. The only person who can know that would be the person who is the proprietor of that, because by the way, I had made that private. And of course, I screenshotted and documented all of the breach. So the way the breach happened was there was one of the developers that I used had left an open open token on one of his GitHub repositories, and then somebody called Sleep the God compromised it. By the way, I know he did because he bragged about it later in DMs. So of course, all this is easily documentable. So the fact that Adrian knows that is sort of like proof positive that he's in close coordination with that hacker, the person who did that.
I usually don't want to jump in the middle of what people are saying, but I just want to pause you at that thought right there. Did he just make all that up, Adrian? Did he just make up that you DM'd him and all that? Did he just make that up?
The only DMs I've sent, I'm pretty sure that I can say what I have said, and what I have said actually doesn't have any exposure to it whatsoever.
Right, because of course you didn't send that DM to the other guy.
Wait, Josh, 1 second. I just want to validate claims as they come along here. I guess let me pose the question this way. Oh, is he talking?
Bruh.
Adrian,
yo, what's up?
Let me just pose the question this way. Apologies. So he just claimed that you DM'd him a bunch of things.
I didn't claim that, Alex. I said that his hacker did.
Hey, for the sake of the rest of us, Adrian, when you have a hot mic and someone else is talking, we can't hear anybody.
Diligent. The chaos here is welcome. We welcome the chaos. Continue.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Jesus, what's going on
That's
in the
so
background
annoying.
with you, Malcolm? Alex, please go ahead.
Yeah, let's I need to keep this succinct. No background noise, no jumping in, no third-party conversation. We're in a good part of this, so let's keep it synced and sharp here. Josh, I need you to, as quickly and sharply as possible, say, these are the DMs I received. That's it. No fluff butter, and no one with background noise jump in.
You have to unmute
again.
twice.
Christ on
yeah,
ice.
so the DMs were from the hacker, not Adrian Dittman, the hacker that Adrian Dittman collaborates with. That was who the DMs were from.
And who is this person supposedly?
His hacker name is Sleep the God. His real name is Taylor.